Hi everybody, my name is Scott Zackman. I am here with Rutgers University and we're going to talk about campus community building and bringing esports to your college campus and how to do it effectively and build a community around esports there.
I'm Thomas Palka, the current president of Rutgers Esports, and
I am Dale Ravi. I am the social media director for Rutgers Esports.
Awesome. All right, so a little bit about Rutgers University. I'm not going to read through all the general history. A few points off that there, though, is we ran, I guess, in 2014. That's when we began. And our idea is that we want a space for all gamers, right? Competitive, we want casual, we want community, and we've really achieved that over the past 5 years. Our most recent event had over 900 attendees, both competitive and casual, and it's completely student-run. Everything about it is led by us as a board of directors and our executive board, and everything worked out really well, to say the least.
that's for sure.
Here's some of the numbers from the last year. This is actually a little bit of this is due to Dale here as the social media director.
That's outdated now. Now we have like 2195 or
2195. There you go. So this was made literally 2 days ago. So there you go. You got even more. But that's the thing is like if you look at our Discord, one of the biggest judges of our community is based off of our Discord because it is involved in yes there are guests, but we actually have it so if you're a Rutgers student, you have to have a Rutgers email address to be registered on our server as a Rutgers student with that tag. And I would say probably, 15 to 1,400 people are Rutgers students just alone in that Discord. So we have a pretty large community online and offline, right? Especially with that 900 attendees, excuse me. So this is my piece here, is the competitive involvement. I'm the competitive director for Rutgers Esports. So my whole job is pretty much overseeing the 130 players that participate in our Division 1, Division 2 teams. I do pretty much the general, I gather all the information and I gather all the coordinators, and that's how we work. I'm going to talk a little bit about the different competitive events that you can include students in at the competitive level. The first one is obviously CSL. Again, we're here today, the CSL Grand Finals, and all of these events that you see on the CSL side of things are all-encompassing, right? So they're the third party for a bunch of different games to participate in. You know, today we have like CSGO, we have Dota 2, we have League of Legends, I believe, Fortnite, Smash, yes. And these are all different tournaments that CSL holds themselves. They're a larger tournament company. They're open to all different universities and colleges. They have live finals and tournaments throughout the year, and then they're also looking at really large prize pools compared to some of the other tournament structures out there. The next level is tournaments that are more based around specific game types. An example of this is TESPA, who is they only hold tournaments for specific games. So that's games that are Blizzard Activision. Rocket League is an exception that they have through Psyonix. But again, very specific. Overwatch, Heroes of the Storm, and that's how that one goes. The last one is you're looking at your Collegiate Rainbow Six League and your Collegiate Call of Duty League. So with these leagues, they're a little bit more specific. You don't have an established tournament structure per se. They're relatively new, but they're very specific. The only games that you're going to see through Rainbow Six League is obviously Rainbow Six, and the same thing with Call of Duty. Up next is going to be a little bit about events and how you can create events to be competitive and really get your players involved. You know, if you have two divisions, if you have a Division 1 team and a Division 2 team, your Division 2 team might not have the same access to those tournaments as your Division 1 team. So LAN events that you create for your players are super important for that, right? You're going to get a lot more Division 2 players involved, and it gives your Division 1 players experience at a live LAN, where they will have a feeling for what it's like to be in front of a stage for a lot of people. Excuse me. So another aspect of this is giving everybody a role, right? You want to make sure that every person has filled a position on a team, right? So at the very basic level, that's a coach, a coordinator, and then 5 or 6 players depending on the game. You also want support staff just in case, somebody to back up. That's also whether or not you're pulling players from Division II or you're having substitutes coming in. And again, it gives people a role, it gives people a reason to be there and show up. Another piece is that you want to show players transparency, right? So you want to make sure that everybody has an idea of how things are going and how things are being run. It gives them a stake, an idea of where you are as an organization, and it helps, again, people from being involved. They want to know, they want to see what's going on and see how they can help. This last piece is personnel. So for me personally, these are the 3 people that I've worked with throughout the year. Again, when you're building a campus community, you want to entrust people with a lot and then kind of reel it back over time. One of the big things here is YJ Shin. She's going to be taking over for me next year, but it's stuff like involving her in all of my conversations, right? So having her shadow me in meetings, having her kind of giving her a little bit of responsibility where she can take over and work on stuff herself. Kevin Yang is a freshman. He's kind of in a similar boat. He's also shadowed me for most of this year, but he's also a bridge from me to a specific team, which is the Overwatch Club. It kind of gives me a direct pathway to talk with them and discuss with them. It makes it a little bit easier and keeps them involved as well. The last person is David's son. And this is the perfect example of giving somebody a lot of trust and then seeing where they run with it, right? So David was a volunteer, actually. He was not involved whatsoever with Rutgers Esports until the Fireside Open back in December. He showed me a great deal of talent when working with the main stage setup. And for the Scarlet Classic, I knew I was going to be walking around and talking a lot. I was going to need to delegate out parts of what I do for main stage to somebody else. I did that with David, and I'm glad to say we had no major issues whatsoever at our main stage. And if there were any issues, they're dealt with quickly, quietly, and they're just knocked under the rug. The next piece, I'm going to give this over to Thomas Palka here for the event involvement.
So I'm going to talk more specifically about how we run our events and what makes them so popular. So jumping off of what Scott was saying about the competitive side, competition is important, but providing a good environment for the spectators is also really important. Spectators are going to be a large portion of your attendance. For example, for us in prior years, over 40% of our attendees were specifically there to spectate or just play in friends. So you want to make sure that they have something to do, feel comfortable, and are just having a general good time, and achieving that good spectator value. Also, you want to make sure that you make use of your event space efficiently, because if your attendees are struggling to walk places and things like that, they're just not going to have a good time. That was a big reason why we had to move to a larger venue, because we were just outgrowing our previous one, and
That's it.
Yeah, people weren't able to walk around. Aesthetic and presentation also add a lot. People will find the event a lot more memorable if it looks nice and feels like a lot of work and was put into it. So continuing on, casual engagement is also really important. This is going to be where you can grow your attendance probably the most. I feel like a lot of groups focus very heavily on the competitive side and only think about the competitive players and competition. But the casual crowd, like I was saying, does make up a lot of your attendance. So make sure you have activities that are just fun for anyone. A good example of that is VR, which is always a huge hit at our events. You could also have like arcades, like CSL has for this, things like that. Also, sell your event more as just than a tournament. These events are meant for anyone in the gaming community, not just competitive players. There are a huge portion of people who only play these games very casually. So make sure you keep those in mind too. You can also have vendors and interesting sponsor booths to engage like, non-endemic people, like people who don't really normally play video games. So we normally have things like an artist alley, and some of our sponsors will bring like free play setups where people can just play whatever game they want on a brand new laptop. And like I mentioned, free play setups are just a huge incentive for people to attend.
Okay, so social media is a big it's a big factor for like our organization or like any organization. It's like the first thing that people see if they're not physically there. Like if someone has never encountered Rutgers esports before, the only thing they have to go off is their social media. So it's important that like we have a good face there. So like the number one rule of social media is like to be active always. Like always be posting, even if you really have nothing to post. Like stuff, because Twitter now shows likes. Retweet stuff, share stuff on Facebook. Just like let your followers know that you're alive and that like you haven't forgotten about them. And always put content out. Like if like it's been kind of a dry spell or whatever, and just put something out there, a picture of like the weekly club meeting, being like, hey, look how much fun everyone's having. It doesn't need to be like a meaty substance post, just some stuff. Also, like know your audience. Our audience is college kids, people who love esports, gamers. So we put out content and like make posts that those types of people would like. And since a lot of those people like gaming, we also share like similar gaming events, our own events, just like things that they would probably be interested in. I have retweeted like some patch updates for Apex or like Overwatch. Just be like, hey guys, you guys play this, so here's like the latest news on it. Yeah, and like memes. Yeah,
that's that one right there, the GameCube.
Yeah, just put memes out. Like gamers love memes. The Nintendo named the console the GameCube because it could play games and it was a cube. And then and this is just like an update saying like, hey, our Overwatch team is making it to top 8 LAN. Like all you Overwatch lovers, look how good our Overwatch team is. Oh no, I got all this stuff. Oh well, it's whatever. They can't see it. Okay, so like a big thing is like knowing the platform that you're on. Like you cannot make the same posts on Twitter as you can on Facebook. They're very different, especially Instagram. So like Twitter is a very like relaxed environment. It's very versatile. You can do a lot of stuff. It's a fantastic place for like short videos, pictures, all that stuff. It's the easiest to use, in my opinion. Like you have all your followers are there. You can see what they're doing. You can share whatever you want with them and see how they react like instantly. I just think like Twitter is like the best for networking and all that stuff. Facebook is more of like the corporate side of social media. Everything has to be kind of like family friendly. It's very like professional and official. I thankfully have one person on my social media team that's fantastic at writing Facebook posts. He just like manages to make a paragraph out of something that could be a sentence, and it makes it look so official. Thank you, Justin. It's great for like big updates, event pages, just like letting your community know the big things that are going on in your org. And then Instagram, I think, is the most difficult platform because you need a picture to make an Instagram post. And if you're just like giving an update or something, it's hard to put a picture there. It's a little annoying. It's kind of hard for engagement. The comment section is kind of a disaster. You can't really like see anything. And yeah, it's just like a difficult platform to engage with the community. It's good for like sharing stuff like, hey, look what we did this weekend, and that's like about it. but it's hard to like actually engage with the community on Instagram. And so the most important thing is like the fine line of what your social media is. Like you can be funny, you can be likable, you can be relatable, but you have to be careful about it, or people won't take you seriously. Like popular Twitters like Denny's, Wendy's, and stuff, like they reply to their comments with like witty remarks and snapbacks and stuff, and everyone loves it. It's funny, but they have a good balance of like, hey, we're also like a professional fast food chain, and we're good at advertising, and it's just a very good advertising strategy. If you do that too much, your org comes off as like not very professional, not official. You kind of just like, oh, there's like a teenager running this. We shouldn't take this seriously. So like my personal method is that you make posts seriously, but you can respond playfully. Like if someone jabs at you on Twitter or whatever, you can reply. You don't have to reply like, we take this very seriously and we will be reporting you. Like, no, you gotta like play back and forth with them. A good example is we had the NYXL Spring Rally earlier last month, right?
Yeah.
And so that was just a bunch of different colleges just going at it on Twitter, sharing memes and stuff. This was one that we had against RIT, and then but we also had to like keep it professional, and so I made like a very professional post saying that, oh, the NYXL Spring Rally is going to be at Scarlet Classic 5, and it was serious, and there wasn't any like joking about it. We're like, hey, we're this like big org running this big event, and this other big org is helping us do it. So you gotta find a good balance. I think that's it for yeah.
So, for what we can recommend for events specifically is definitely having a VR headset. Like I was saying, it's a major like casual attraction, and if you can't get one from your community, you can always try and get a sponsorship with HTC. They've been really helpful with us. I think they gave us a total of 3 lives, one for us to keep and 2 away.
That's a lot of lives.
Yeah. Include as many games as you can. As you can see from our floor plan, like we gave a huge space for like Ultimate and Melee, and then we have fighting games, and then within free play we had Overwatch, CS:GO, Dota, Hearthstone, League of Legends, OSU, Pokemon, Rainbow Six Siege, and Rocket League. So just the more games that you have, the more people who are interested in coming to it. Also, giveaways. Giveaways are huge. A lot of people like will just come for giveaways. If that's what they like. That's what they like. Try and stream as much of your event as possible. It's always nice to have like clips and VODs that you can like post on social media and be like, wow, look at this cool play that happened at the Scarlet Classic or whatever. Pictures are also really important, especially if you're getting partners. Most partners will want pictures within their ring caps, and that's something that they can advertise on their social media, which helps you because they're just advertising for your event and brand. And free play. Free play is also, like I said, helps with casuals. Very good place to expand your attendance numbers.
Yep. No, this is actually, going back to Dale, we're going to talk about a little bit about social media.
Yeah. Okay, so like what I can recommend about social media is that it's not as easy as it seems. It's a lot of work. I quickly realized that coming into this position. So like the biggest recommendation is like get organized, create a spreadsheet. This is only like part of a spreadsheet that's maybe like 100 and something requests for social media that like we in like the heat of the semester where I'm getting like maybe 4 or 5 of these like a day almost. And it's like it's hard to space those posts out so that you're not just flooding people's feeds with all this posting. And also like
is that like the club within the teams are asking posts?
Yeah. Like they're like, hey, can you like make this post at this time with this graphic, all that stuff.
And sorry to cut you off, but they all have that access, right? So one of the jobs is competitive coordinators, each coordinator has access to that list and says on their own time is saying, hey, we have a game that's going to be streamed, and this is the link, and this is what we would like to be posting. So,
yeah, so it's very important to be organized. Make sure you don't miss any posts. Find out when your posts get the most engagement. For a lot of for our bigger events, we do partner posts, and I try to post those around 12 to 2 p.m. because that's when a lot of people are on social media because it's their lunch break or something like that, or going in between classes. If you post at 8 p.m., no one's really gonna see it. And also prepare for some damage control and some tough questions that will get in DMs. You may not know the answers to them because social media people maybe don't know everything that's going on in your work, but you should be responding to them, and you should know how to kind of take care of some heated situations. And most of all, this is very cliche, just have fun with it. Social media is fun. It's a good time. Make some funny posts, engage your community, let them know you're live. If you make a post and try to be funny and it doesn't really take off, don't get discouraged. It happens all the time. And every account has a personality. You don't want to just be kind of boring on it. No one's really gonna interact. So just play around with it, find your personality. It takes a while. But yeah, it's fun. I like it.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's go over a little bit of organization. Tommy and myself, we're going to talk about this a little bit. So, organization is probably the hardest part of any of this. So, to start, this beautiful graphic over here on the right-hand side. If you guys want to, you guys can take a picture of this, but essentially, there's little numbers next to some of these different positions. And this is the basic organizational structure. So Christian Gross, he's from American Esports. He was a UT Arlington graduate. He started their program. Awesome guy. And he is really, really into organizational structures. He will literally study. He's done research himself, but has also researched I think hours and hours of just organizational structures. And this is what he came up with, which is a very basic list of what do you need first to start your organization and kind of keep and retain people at your higher level, right? We're talking the community building of your actual executive board, and this is where it starts. So to continue, you're going to have to give your board members, and I touched about this a little bit earlier, which is give them a lot of trust and then reel that back in when they don't perform as expected. It's one of those things that trust people to get stuff done and to be active and work, because generally they will. You'd be surprised by what people can do and what people will make when you give them that trust. Another piece is you want to support and involve the people that show your most dedication. They might not be great on paper. They might not have volunteer experience or a lot of esports background, but if they're dedicated and they show the passion, invite them to join this board. That's super important. You want people that are passionate and that are going to stay here as long as you possibly can.
And to add on to this a little bit, this is kind of, passion has been kind of a meme in our club, but it's actually a really important aspect of recruiting new members. A lot of times, especially in the collegiate esports scene, students are asked to sacrifice a lot to put in the work for these organizations and make sure that they work. And without passion, a lot of people would lose hope and not want to put in the work, because at the end of the day, you are a college student, you are trying to get a degree, and sometimes you might not want to put esports first just because you have classes or things like that. So passion can come into play here and help you push forward through the tough moments.
All right. The last 2 points. So I think we might have been able to do a better job of this. I think super, super important. Again, we touched on this earlier, which is being open with everybody involved in your organization. There is, again, a lot of closed-door stuff that directors talk about at our level. And it's not necessarily things that would be bad in any sense, but it's stuff that we don't necessarily want to be discussed openly yet. But you also want to make sure that you have a sense of, hey, this is what's going on, this is what's happening, this is what we need to happen, and this is what we expect of you. All of those things need to come into play, and that's just being open to people in the organization. The last piece is, encouraging everybody to get involved and contribute their ideas, regardless of how long they've been there. We had Dale. I think you kind of just thrust into the director position. You're probably one of the newest directors. Even if they're only there for a week, we've seen some of our brightest and best start off at the very bottom and quickly just rise up because they had great ideas, they worked out, and we appreciate that. The last piece is a little bit more from Christian Gross. He, again, I would consider him one of the foremost experts in this area. And I asked him, what are the 3 major things that I should talk about today? One of them is doing research and connecting with individuals in your membership. This goes to social media, right? You want to connect with the people that are involved in your club. You want them to know that you're there all the time, and that you're open, that you want to discuss, and you want new ideas. Number 2, engage with your campus community, and let them give you their ideas, let them get involved, even if they're not a part of your direct organization, like Rutgers Esports Executive Board. Let them be involved, volunteer. Again, we have a volunteer program that we usually pull applicants for our board from. And again, they're going to bring people into that fold. The last piece here is take control of your organizational culture, right? So we've done, I think, a very good job of this over the past few years. We've had our downs, but I think we're in a very solid position right now. We started, when I was there in 2016, we had 14 people, I believe, or 12 people on our board. And now we have 38, I think, is our total, right? 38 or 32? 40-ish, yeah, 40-ish, yeah. There's only more. We're doing a production director, I think. So this is the thing is, it doesn't happen, there's no, I would never be able to give anybody my set organizational structure and say, here, just model off of this, because it has to be fluid, it has to be natural. You have to go through a little bit of that growing pains of, here are the basic 3, which is president, treasurer, vice president. After that, that's when we fill in the rest. And that takes time, and sometimes it can be an issue. This next page I can see has gotten a little messed up, so we'll talk through it a little bit. So if you guys are interested, we are also obviously on Twitter. Dale is Spot Doge. I'm Scott Zackman. I'm at Scott Zackman. Thomas Palka is at Tomorrow with a 0 instead of that.
Yeah. And an underscore.
So this next piece is obviously, so you can reach us for Rutgers Esports, facebook.com/Rutgers Esports, very basic. Instagram, same thing, Rutgers Esports. Discord, we have a specific Discord link, so if you're interested in joining and being involved in that, it's literally just discord.gg and then /Rutgers Esports. Again, same thing with Twitch. It's just down the line, Rutgers Esports. I think that kind of is inherent also is make sure you have consistent branding.
Yeah.
That is super important. But
Twitter is also at Rutgers Esports.
Yes, exactly. Twitter at Rutgers Esports. Shouldn't be that different, but that is it for, I guess we'll keep this open. So if you guys have any questions